In this video, we're going to give you a few tips about how to conduct move-in or move-out inspection for your tenants. This could potentially save you thousands of dollars and a lot of time if you do it correctly. So here are the tips. Tip number one is don't leave the inspection up to the tenant. You want to make sure that as a manager or a landlord that you personally are looking at the unit. Some property managers will just hand the tenant an inspection sheet and tell them to give it back or return it to them within a few days. This can cause lots of problems. If you don't have eyes on your unit and you don't take pictures and notes of the current condition when someone moves in, you won't know exactly how it looked or what was potentially damaged during their tenancy. If you leave it up to the tenant, the inspection might not get done. Also, the tenant might not do the greatest job with the inspection itself, not capturing any of the details and then blaming you for it later. Tip number two is take as many pictures as possible. Don't be shy of taking a lot of pictures. We don't deal with film anymore, so using your smartphone or a camera is really easy to take tons of digital pictures and really document the current condition of the unit. You'll never know when in the future you'll need a photo of that room or that detail, so don't be shy of taking as many photos as you possibly can. Take general shots and then take detail shots up close. This could result in 100 plus photos. We often come away with about 100 to 200 photos each move-in or move-out inspection. But we do that to make sure that we have proper documentation and we really know the inside and outside of that unit. Tip number three is to find a good app on your phone for dating and timestamping each photo. We have one that we use that's free and has a few ads, but it always takes a photo with a date and time stamped on the picture. This will help if you ever need it in the future for any court or legal cases. You can protect yourself by having a dated and time-stamped picture of the current condition. Tip number four is to test everything in the unit. When you're inspecting everything, you want to make sure that you test it while you're doing that. This means you'll want to run the water, you'll want to make sure hot water is getting to all of your faucets, you'll want to make sure the toilet is working, that the drains work properly. You'll want to open up and close every cabinet and drawer in the unit to make sure that there aren't any issues. If there are issues, your tenant's going to immediately put in a maintenance request days later asking when that thing is going to be done. Get ahead of it and make sure that you're documenting and testing every single thing in the unit so that there aren't any surprises going forward. As you're testing everything in your unit, make sure you're not forgetting things like blinds, doors, windows, locks, and even appliances when you can test them. Tip number five is to use an inspection checklist. You'll want to make sure that you're using an inspection sheet either digitally or on paper to note every single area and item in that area. When you do this, make sure you note whether it was new, working at the time of move-in, or if it needs repairs. You can then reference this later and make repairs if you need to, or just reference it when they're moving out and you need to charge from their deposit or make any repairs at that time. Even if something does look like normal wear and tear, you'll still want to make note of that on your inspection sheet so that you can reference that in the future. And just as a reminder, don't forget the exterior of the property. This is especially important if the tenant is in charge of the landscaping. Tip number six is to take inventory of your appliances. You want to make sure you're going through everything, so while you're at it, go through each appliance. Take pictures of their model numbers and serial numbers so that you know what appliances were in the unit when the tenant moved in. You'll also want to make sure that you're documenting everything else in the unit. Each item should be on your checklist. Tip number seven is the last tip, and that is to collect move-in funds and any documentation you might need during their tenancy. This is really important. Make sure that you don't give them the keys and access to the unit until you collect move-in funds. Hopefully these tips have been helpful to you as a rental property owner, and we really want to help you understand the ins and outs of property management. As a landlord and owner, we want to give the education to you so that you can be well informed and know what's going on with your rental property. Please Please let us know if you have any questions about move-in or move-out inspections. And if you liked this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, share this with some of your friends or others that might have rental properties. We're excited that you're joining us in your landlord education journey and hope to help you more.